Wow! Wow. I know a lot of you guys are diehard fans of Major League Baseball. Anytime I'm critical of baseball, I receive a flurry of comments and emails with people expressing their anger towards me. Some of you guys even try to convince me to give modern baseball a chance. But I have a strong feeling that after this video, some of you might be convinced to quit watching Major League Baseball. During the 90s, I was a preteen and a teenager. Back then, I was the exact birthing person that Megan Rapinoe aspires to be, a prepubescent boy. My parents bought me my first computer in 94, maybe 95. Now, this was during the heyday of AOL. You've got mail. CompuServe, Prodigy, MindSpring. They called them ISPs, Internet Service Providers. The internet was in its infancy. It was completely underground. The most popular aspect of the internet back then was the chat rooms. For the first time in history, you could communicate with anyone around the world instantly. Now, there were a lot of positives that came from the internet, but there was also a lot of negatives. Most parents were completely oblivious to what kids could access online. Parents back then, they were more concerned with what Tiny Tim was seeing on MTV than what he was being exposed to on the internet. Throughout the 90s, I was a big user of IRC, Internet Relay Chat. I learned how to write scripts, code HTML through IRC. We used it for chatting, but we also used it for file sharing. MP3s, bootleg movies that took days to download on a 56K modem. Low-level staffers at record companies, they would leak upcoming albums to us weeks before they were released to the public. But there were also other files that were commonly shared. Pictures of girls. Perverts would use these to lure young boys like myself. When I was about 11, maybe 12 years old, there was a user on IRC that I was sharing files with. Supposedly, he was my age. Long story short, after a few months, he started trying to persuade me to come out to the Northwest and visit him for the summer. You can stay at my house. My parents have plenty of room in the basement. Now, in my 11-year-old mind, this was just an exciting summer vacation. I can vividly remember asking my dad if I could go. Obviously, he had a plethora of questions, and it goes without saying, there was no chance in hell he was going to let me go. But he was asking me questions, trying to figure out who in the hell this was that was luring his son across the country. More than likely, whoever I was talking to 30 years ago was some lonely dude in his 30s who chose to identify as a teenage boy. It was the first time that my parents came to the realization that the internet is dangerous, especially for impressionable kids. My dad explained to me what was really happening, and from that day forward, I was alert, my eyes were open. It was one of the few times in my preteen years that I actually listened to my parents. I guess you could say that was my first experience dealing with adult issues. Now, the point of me telling you that story, those were the types of issues parents had to worry about with their internet-savvy children in the 90s and early 2000s. Predators, porn, illegal file sharing. Besides the file sharing, most people would consider these to be serious issues, but it does not come close. It doesn't come close to the issues that parents have to be concerned with today. How many of you guys are familiar with the American Accountability Foundation? AAF is a research group that was started by a man named Tom Jones. Now, I am confident with his gender identification because the group was founded in 2020 to oppose anything associated with pretend President John Biden. Recently, the group sent someone undercover who was texting the crisis text line. Now, when you hear something described as the crisis text line, you're probably thinking this group helps people who are going through a crisis. Mental health, eating disorders, abuse, drug use. That's not the crisis they are designed to assist you with. They might help with those, but that is not their primary focus. The crisis text line, they are also there for birthing persons suffering through the traumatic disease of gender dysphoria. The American Accountability Foundation, they sent someone undercover to the crisis text line posing as a troubled boy who never felt masculine. Now, if you're the counselor receiving this crisis, what would you recommend to this troubled boy? I think most responsible people would ask to speak to the parents. Maybe they recommend a good therapist. Maybe they send the young man a free copy of Night Nurses from Jersey to get the attractive juices flowing. Probably not that last one, but you get the point. Not the crisis text line, though. No. They pushed the kid towards Trevor Space, a chat room operated by the Trevor Project. This chat room is really great. If you're a parent, you are going to be thrilled with this amazing resource that your kids have access to without your knowledge. A woman from Brooklyn named Rachel, she shared an interesting story with the National Review. Rachel had a child that was supposedly suffering through gender identification issues. The child thought he was born with the wrong vegetable. Rachel, she posed as a preteen going through this traumatic disease and jumped on Trevor Space looking for resources that could help a child detransition. As you guys know, detransition, that is equivalent to a curse word at Woke United Methodist. We don't recognize the term detransition. We are only here to assist birthing persons who want to exchange their cucumber for a set of high heels. Now keep in mind, Rachel is a lifelong Democrat and feminist. Translation, potential shitfuck. But even she was absolutely mortified by what she saw in this chat room that is targeting kids between the ages of 13 and 24. Teenagers, young college kids. An adult user in the chat room recommended a list of companies that sell binders. Well, Casey, what's wrong with that? They're trying to help these students stay organized. I loved my Rainbow Trapper Keeper binder when I was in middle school. Yeah. That's not the type of binder Trandan was recommending. Gather around, parents. Allow Casey to inform you what your kids are actually talking about when they ask you for a binder. A binder is a special device worn under shirts, which allows women pretending to be men to conceal their goods. Binders are extremely popular in the WNBA. Check out one for yourself. This birthing person chooses to identify as Alan, the artist formerly known as Alice. As you can see, the binder, extremely effective at concealing those pesky milk cartons. Eventually, I would imagine climate activists will push legislation to make binders a requirement for cows. Those cow flatulence, they are extremely harmful to our delicate environment. Obviously, Rachel found absolutely no resources to help a child detransition, or resources to convince them there were alternate methods to transitioning. But Rachel found plenty of conversations discussing sex. One adult male explained to the group, "I woke up this morning with a massive urge to discipline my wanker. Oh, it felt awful. The gross sensations I felt was a traumatic reminder that I was indeed born a feminine male. It completely shattered my womanhood that I was pretending existed." Look. If Trevor Space was an 18-plus chat room, I would have no problem with it. If you're an adult and you're looking for resources to transition, you're looking for the less than 1% of the population that feels the same way you do, Trevor Space is the space for you. I have no problem with an organization providing resources for adults in need. But to provide these resources to children without parental consent, to expose children to sexually explicit conversations, to market your organization to kids between the ages of 13 and 24, that is a serious problem. And it's a serious problem for Major League Baseball because they're endorsing the Trevor Project. A while back, Major League Baseball produced a PSA which involved active players discussing issues of mental health. Now, on the surface, this commercial seems harmless, but it's one of those cases where the devil doesn't entice you with a pitchfork and a set of horns. Oftentimes, the devil, he doesn't send his wife Joy Reid to entice you to a life of misery. He comes to you looking like an angel. He approaches you under the guise of innocence. I'm here to help. I'm going to show you a small portion of this PSA that was produced by Major League Baseball. Hopefully, it makes it through the check system. But I want you to see how they market the crisis text line to unsuspecting viewers. There is absolutely no mention of the resources offered to teenagers which helps them change genders. Major League Baseball is marketing this organization as a group that helps young men who are struggling with their mental health. Watch for yourself. And pay close attention to the ending where Major League Baseball provides the phone number. You're going to notice a glaring omission. Roll the film.
I'm a huge proponent of taking care of your mental health. If you want to be the best you possibly can be on the field, then your mind's got to be right.
You know, I think there's a stigma around men's mental health especially, that made me close up. Never really felt comfortable opening up and talking about how I felt, just the emotions that I was experiencing. I used the burger bombs method. B is be open. O of the bombs is open a book. The M is meditate and being mindful of everything that's going on. B is break a sweat, and then S is set a routine.
Did you notice that Major League Baseball did not reveal the name of the organization? They simply provided the phone number without naming the group. I wonder why. Now, to be fair, there are a couple of possibilities here. Number one, perhaps Major League Baseball was unaware that the crisis text line was pushing teenagers towards the Trevor Project. That is entirely possible. Maybe Major League Baseball didn't know what was going on in these chat rooms. Does that make them innocent? No, it makes them lazy. It shows that Major League Baseball doesn't do their due diligence when partnering with groups that they endorse. Possibility two, Major League Baseball was aware and they just don't care. I have no way of knowing which is true, but looking at the recent history of Major League Baseball, they have proven on multiple occasions that they enjoy a big slice of the pound my brown cake. Rob Manfred, he has refused to step in to prevent the Mr. Sisters from performing at Pride Night in Los Angeles. This week, the Toronto Blue Jays, they dropped relief pitcher Anthony Bass. Why? They claimed it was due to performance, with distractions playing a minimal role in their decision. The distractions that they're talking about are supposed anti-LGBT posts on social media. Anthony Bass had the audacity to support boycotts of Target and Bud Light. That support cost him his job. Let me ask you something. Major League Baseball was exposed this week by the Daily Wire and National Review. These stories were published probably 48 hours ago. Where's the mainstream media? For some reason, the mainstream media is refusing to pick up this story. This should be headline news on every major media outlet. Think about it. Major League Baseball was caught endorsing a group that helps minors with gender dysphoria without parental consent. Am I the only one who thinks that's a big deal? Where is CNN? Where is MSNBC, CBS, NBC News, ABC News, ESPN? Where are they? The mainstream media is complicit, which should not be a surprise. This is why normal people have zero trust in the mainstream media. Give me your thoughts. All of my diehard Major League Baseball fans, I want to hear from you. Most of you guys are boycotting Target and Kohl's for marketing transgender products to children. In my opinion, what Major League Baseball is doing, it's worse. It's worse. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Look into this for yourself. Will this cause you to quit watching Major League Baseball? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.